Okay, that is business letter. What do you understand by business letter? What are the types of business letter and how we have to draft that letter? Okay, so let's discuss what is a business letter. A letter, whether long or short, has to be planned before it is written. When writing a business letter, the letter produced one-sided conversation with the readers in the sense that he and she has to anticipated the readers' questions and provide answers to those questions. Basically, business letter are also a type of a writing communication where we have to share our information to the other person by writing that in terms of letters, emails, and so on. A carelessly written letter may fail to secure an order or loan. Business letter assists you in sustaining your business relationship with other business and customers. There are various purposes of business letter. Before going further, let's discuss more about the letter. What is letter? Why we have to write that letter? So the information age generated more and more documents in the form of letter. So whether be a private sector or public sector or at home, all professionals have to write a letter which serve as the media for conveying information among entities and individuals. Sometimes you write to give information to someone. Sometimes you may asking for some information for a particular person or a company. Something you want refund for your damaged product from the supplier, or you like to send a note to console to that one person of your depressed associate. To inform a candidate that his application was not accepted. Whenever your plans, you in fact do not write for yourself, but to inform others and to fulfill a certain needs. This need that moves you to write the letter and to fulfill a certain need. This need that have to move you to write the letter in your primary objective. So here you can see an example of a letter where we have to give the margin, how we have to write the letter. So let's discuss one by one. As a rule, the letter that a company writes create strong impression for a number of reasons. We write to inform others and to fulfill a certain needs. Letters serve as medium for conveying information among entities and organizations. Before going further for the discussion of the business letter format, let's discuss what are the purpose of that letter. Why we have to write. First, to inform, to congratulate, to inquiry, to order, to request, to collect dues, to complain, to make an adjustment, to sell a product or a services. So these are some purposes to write a business letter. It is essential to write a business letter to maintain a contact with the external world, including other businessmen, customers, and government departments. It serves as a record for further references. It is used to build goodwill. A business letter is a letter in a formal language used when writing from one business organization to the another, or for correspondence between organization and their clients or the other parties. So now we have known about the purpose. We know what is a business letter, why we have to write that letter. Okay. Now next comes to the format of the business letter. So here you can see there is a format in front of your screen. There you can see your name is showing, like first of all you have to write your name, address, phone number, date of today, and see there is a margin also. Before writing any letter, your sequence or you have to give some margins. It should be in a straight line. There should be no diversion while writing a letter. Okay. Now next comes to the letter heads and the sender address. So, what is a letterhead or a sender address? Includes the company logo. If you are writing any letter over the company that has a company logo, that is a letterhead. For example, you see there are various companies in where they provide you a letterhead. For example, you can see offer letter. Have you seen the offer letter? There is a logo of that company. So that is also a type of a letterhead. Or you can say experience letter also is a type of a letterhead, because your company's address, their logos, their symbols, addresses, zip numbers, fax number, and so on are printed on them. So that terms to be the letterhead. The sender address. It is usually given in the letterhead. But if there is none, the sender name and contact details can be typed. So I hope this thing has been clear to you. What is a letterhead? So now how we have to just write a letter? Like first of all, what we have to write? Letter are highly personalized matter. For that, sign out a special readers, and usually a letter is written by a single writer, not by a team. Second rule is the have the most formal effect than face-to-face conversation. Now, third most important rule is they received the added emphasis of the printed word and have the quality of the performance. So, a company can create a good public relation only by pretending in face in the best possible way through good business letter. So now let's come to the next topic, that is your references. What are your references and what do you understand by references? So references are basically, it include the identification, a file or a case number. Some companies have specific reference code that they place either in the reference line below the data or at the very bottom of the letters. If you see the letters or the some letterheads, so in the bottom you see there is a reference number. Like here, I have given you the example like REFHTM/25. So this is someone company's reference number. So this way you can see there is also a refer code or case number or invoice number is written over there. Next comes to the date. So what is date? Date consists of number of the month, year and your date. Like first you have to write the date, that what is the months going on and the year. In this sequence you have to write the date on the letter. Never send a letter without a date. Try to not send a letter without a date, because somewhere it is not good, or we haven't realized when we received that letter. If the letter sheet includes a letterhead, type the date from 2 to 3 lines under the letterhead. Else, type it under the written address. You can see the example here. There is a British method and the American method. So we are having two methods. In British method, first of all, we have to write the date, then month and then year. And in American method, you have first to write the month, then date and then year. I hope this topic has been clear to you. Next is the inside address. What do you understand by inside address? Writing on the left side behind the margins, 2 space below the date line. The address can also begin with a job title or a department. If you do not know the name, for an example, the account department or the managers and so on, include the name and the address of the firm or the individual whom to write a letter. You have to write the name of a person whom you are writing that letter. That is compulsory. If you know the company address, their PIN code, their zip code, or their fax number, try to write that on your inside address. Now, next topic comes to the subject and the receiver reference number. So subject usually comes between the body and the salutation part. When you are writing a letter, always you have to write the subject between salutation and body. The receiver references, that is, the receiver previous letter number is mentioned under the heading references. Below you can see the example over your screen, your reference number, that is MBM/ST. This is an example you can see over your letter when you are writing any letter. This will enable the receiver to easily take out a company of his own letter from his files and understand the matter in the reply. Next comes to the salutation part. Always write your salutation means when you greet someone. Okay, like dear sir, dear ma'am, respected sir, respected ma'am, dear customer. So these basically write to give a respect to the other person whom you are writing that letter. So try to greet or it is a compliment. Written beside the left hand margin, two spaces below the inside addresses and two lines above the body of the letter. It is always followed by comma or a semicolon. Salutation always depend upon the gender, type, number, or the social status of the person addressed. So there are various guidelines for this. Never forget that your reader is a real person. Avoiding writing cold and interpersonal letter. Keep the letter readers in the front font of your letter. Be courteous. Be respectful while writing that letter. Be neither broadcast or not mid, though you have to follow certain points or certain guidelines to write a letter. Now, next comes to the body part. What is a body? So, what is a letter body? This is the root of the business letter. Use signal line spacing for readability. You can use extra line between paragraphs after the salutation and above the closing salutation. Okay, so basically what is a body? It begins with two space below the salutation part. Most important, lengthiest written is correct, impressive style. We can divide the body into three parts. First is your introduction, second is your middle paragraph, and last where you have to close your information. Double space being paragraphs. If letter exceed one page, repeat the receptionist's name, date, reference, subject line, and put numbers. Continue your letter between three lines before the heading. Next comes to the close part. It depends on the tone and the degree of formality. Respectful, sincere, you're faithful. You have to write this. And if you are writing any information, you can simply write best wishes or warm regards. Now comes to the signature and your destination, which place you are working. So what are signatures? You should always end up with a handwriting signature, even if the letter is typed and printed using a computer. Handwritten signature help in establishing a rapport with the receptionist, even if this is your first communication. Always write your full name and title below the signature. Next comes to the business title. Check out how to bring over your professional handwriting signature to the emails and digital documents with an electronic signature. Now, what are the optional things to be included? What else we can include? We have learned about the signature part. We have learned about the address part. We learn about how to give the margins. So, what optional thing we can include? If you are including any additional document that pretending to the letter, make a list of those enclosures. Basically, what they call enclosure after your signature and name. If you are sending a sales letter, you may consider including a call to a action. That is CTA. The CTA stands for calls to the action at the bottom of the letter. So that is enclosure. Now next comes to the referencing intention. Internally, what are the references? As we have already discussed, references, it is written at the below of your letterhead. Okay, so there, let's take some examples of the business letter. Okay, I've shown one of the slide where you can see the format, where you can see there is a margin also given. You have to write the salutation, you have to give write the emails, you have to write everything over that body, greet that person. You try to use the language that is courteous, like be respectful while writing that letter. So business letter is a formal document and you are accountable for the information you pass in it. So you must be very intentional about its content and format. We have discussed this in detail in before. So now let's go to the next slide. Copy notation. What do you understand by copy notations? So copy notations is basically like CC. Before the name of the sending any other person, without knowing that person, you can put that person in the CC, that is the carbon copy, where you have to show that is specific information to the other person. When other people are to receive a copy of the same letter, their names are noted either by their ranks or by alphabet, written just below the reference intense or the enclosure, whichever is last. Now comes to the layouts. What are the layouts? So first is block. What is block? At least one less space between each part. Time-saving methods and beautiful to look at the letter, all known as American style. Each line of every part begins at the left margin. Next comes to indent. What is indent? This style, also known as hanging style. This is the method consumes a lot of time, look shabby, Therefore, out of practice. New paragraphs begin about 1.5 centimeters to the right of the left margins. Last comes to the semi-block or modified blocks. What are semi-blocks or modified blocks? Most widely followed method in a country. These are especially used in government offices. Written address, date, closing, and signature start just right the center of the page, flush with the right margin. Some parts are typed in block method and other part are indented. Now, here you can see there is a block style, there is a modified block style and indented block style. So these are certain style while writing any letter. Now, next comes to the type of letter. So what are the types of letter? Basically, there are various type of letter. I hope before going further, these all are clear to you, like what is a business letter, how we have to draft a letter, and what are the purposes of letter, and so on. Now, quickly comes what are the effective business letter features. Here it is not showing on your screen, but let's discuss that as well. So, what are the features? Consideration of addresses, politeness, accuracy, clarity. So, these are basically the features of your letter. So, what does the clarity means? What do you understand by clarity? Avoid unnecessary information. Business letter should be direct. In order to sound natural, the writer should use plain conversation. Next, what do you understand by the term completeness? But that is simply means you have to completely give your address, like completely write the information. Before share that letters to any other person, try to read it and then send it. Next feature is your politeness. Politeness is the key word in the business letter. Therefore, it should be courteous writing. It should not include the express such as thanks, I regret, please, my pleasure, letter of request or complaints. Should avoid unpleasant and rude expression. I hope this topic has clear to you. Now, next feature is concentration. Take into the consideration the nature, the post, and also the mental label of the receiver, so that the reader can read it with ease. Keep in the view the type of addresses on the receiver. I hope this is clear to you. Now, quickly comes to the next topic, that is what are the different types of letter. So here you can see there are different types of letter, like order letter, settlement letter, a complaint letter, agency letter. So here we are having various types of letter. So let's discuss one by one. What do you understand by these letters? So what is the inquiry letter? Basically, inquiry letter means when we are inquiring about any of the products. So that term comes to be in the inquiry letter. When we have to know about the inquiry of that product. What is the use of that product, or that product is available for you or not. So that is a inquiry letter. Okay, so business letter are an important communication tool in professional settings. You will likely need to know how to write different types of business letters and emails throughout your career. From a cover letter when applying to a position to a persuasive, that is your sales letter. Now, next letter is your cover letter. What do you understand by a cover letter? A cover letter is a business letter, typically sent with your resume when applying to a job. While not all employers require a cover letter, it is a great opportunity to explain your professional experience, qualification, and interest in the company and job. A cover letter should include various sections, that is, your contact details. At the top of your cover letter, include your name, phone number, email address to ensure the reader know how to contact you after reviewing your application. Next is your salutation part. Brings the letter by addressing the purpose to which you are writing the letter. This person may be the hiring manager, department head, or company representative. Identify in the job listing. I hope two type of letter has been clear to you. First is your cover letter and second is your inquiry letter. Now, what is the purpose of writing a cover letter? Why we have to write a cover letter? So, your introduction discuss why you are writing by mentioning that job title, the company names, and where you found that job listing. Showcase your result on the job and company by expressing a specific interest in both, explaining why you were drawn to that job posting and what interests you about their organization. Okay, so at the end of concluding the cover letter, cover letter with a memorable statement about why you are a good fit for that open job, for that position. Include CTA. So before slide, I have discussed what is CTA. So CTA is basically stand for call to the action that encourage the readers to follow up on your application. Should they want to interview you and learn more about how you could fit in their company. Now, next comes to the letter of recommendation. This is also a type of a business letter. Now, what is the letter of recommendation? A letter of recommendation is written on the behalf of another professional to verify their qualification and work ethics. A letter of recommendations can strength and application for employment, higher education, or another professional opportunities. A recommendation letter should include the following section. What are they? Relationship of the recommendation. What do you understand by that? The letter should state the relationship of the person making the recommendations to ensure the reader knows what qualifications the writer to speak on the applicant's behalf. Recommendation letters are often written by co-workers and supervisors. Let's take example of a recommendation letter. The writer should include specific examples of how the candidate and their skill during the time when they are working together. This information can help prospective employees to understand how exactly the candidate positively impact their peers and employees. Now that is a closing statement. How we have to close the recommendation letter? The recommendation letters should conclude with a financial confirmation of the candidate qualification with the written contact information should the reader wants to know for. So there are various types of recommendation letter, like for example reference letters. Okay, this is a basic example of your recommendation letter. Next comes to the follow-up letter. To thank the interviewer for their time and to demonstrate your interest in the job further. A follow-up letter should include various sections. Overview of interviews. Include key topic discussed during the interview, such as a specific job task or a talking point that interests you. Be sure to mention the title of the position. These details active listening while expressing your continued interest in open position. What are the skills related to this position? The follow-up letter is a good time to retain the skill you offered as they relate to the open position. Next comes to the gratitude part. You can also use the follow-up letters to thank the hiring managers for taking the time to meet with you. This step shows professional courtesy that can leave a good impression. Next comes to the offer letter. What is an offer letter? An offer letter is an official letter of employment that describes the specific term of the position. If you agree to the term the letter offers, then you will sign the offer letter and accept the job. Now, what are included in that offer letter? What is included in the offer letter? First is your job description. This item outlines the specific job task and requirements of the role. Next is your job title. What is the job title? A letter that states the official name of the position can ensure you are hired for the right role. Next comes to requested start date. This is the date on which you will be employment. You may discuss with your employer if you need to adjust the dates. Next is your salary and benefits. This information include offered salary, bonus and benefits that comes with the role. Some employers may specify when they distribute bonuses and when benefits such as healthcare begins. Next comes to the acceptance timeline. This is the date by which you must respond to the offer letter. I hope all four of letter has been clear to you. Now next comes to the sales letter. What is a sales letter? The purpose of sales letter is to introduce a service or product to a client or customer. Sales professionals often use these letters when making new contacts with prospective buyers or starting relationship with long-time client. So what are the various things that are included in the sales letter? First is your description of the product or the services. It includes specific details about the item or the services you are offering. Consider identifying a possible solution this product or services provide to the receptionist to be based its value. Next comes to cost. What is the cost? Some letters include information about the price of the product or services, especially if the buyer is current person. It be include if the cost was already discussed in a previous meeting as well. Next, what we have to include in the sale letter, that is CTA. What is the full form of CTA? That is call to the action. Include the direction to the readers explaining how they should take action if they want to buy. You may include your contact information, the best time to reach you, and a date by which they should reply to take advantage of your letter. Now comes to the next type of business letter, that is the letter of commitment. The letter of commitment are a form of employee appreciation. We can say it is a type of a appreciation letter as well. And the company sent them out to the entire staff to congratulate an employee for a job well done. So what we include in these types of letter? What is the purpose of this letter? First, begin a letter of appreciation. Identify who is being commanded and for what reason. Detail of the appreciation. What they include about a specific task, achievements, or the awards for which the team member is recognized. So there are various types of the commitment letter, right here, appreciation letter, retirement letter, settlement letter, and so on. Next is your letter of resignation. When you resign over your job, a letter of resign inform the employer of your intent to resign from that specific job. While you may verbally notify your co-workers and employer of your plan to leave, many organizations prefer to have an official letter for documentation purpose. What these type of letter, what they are including? First, statement of resign, then reason for leaving, why you leave that organization, dates, thank you, and so let's discuss one by one. The statement of resign. Begin this letter with the official statement declaring that you are resigning from that company. Reason for leaving. It depends on your situation. You may consider maintaining why you are leaving so your employer understands your decision. This may include accepting an opportunity elsewhere, pursuing for higher education. Next comes to the date part. Includes the date on which you are delivered that letter. The date of your official last date of employment. This step can ensure your employer can best prepare for your leaving and fill your position. Next comes to what else we include, that is your thank you. You have to thanks to that letter. Okay, now we have learned about the offer letter, thank you letter. What you understand by the term thank you letter? A professional thank you letter is an important way to let colleagues, employer, or the vendor or other business contact know you value their time or efforts. Sending a professional thanks you letter will build a rapport with the receptionist and communicate your intention. For the future, it might be appropriate to send a thank you letter after someone helps you with a job search. When a customer makes a purchase or if a business awards you a contract. You can also send a formal thank you letter to simply state your journal appearance for someone. A business thank you letter typically include a greeting, reason for gratitude, detail for your conversation, and polite closing. So what is a greeting? Greeting basically means start your letter with simple but professional greeting. Consider your relationship with the receptionist. What do you understand by reason for gratitude? In one or two brief paragraphs, clearly express your gratitude to the receptionist, being specific about what you are thanking them for. Next is your detail for conversation. Sharing additional details from your encounter can help the professionals the letter and show the depth of your gratitude. Last comes to a polite closing. Conclude your email with a closing statement like my regards. Thanks again. Yet professional closing. So there are other types of thank you letter like customer thank you letter, thank you letter for raise, for mentors, for recommendation, for co-workers and so on. Next comes to the adjustment or the complaint letter. So what is a complaint letter? Complaint letter are usually sent by the customer to the business when they are unhappy with a service or product. Businesses may also occasionally need to write a complaint letter. Let's take an example. An employee may be asked to write a complaint letter on the behalf of a company who is dissatisfied with a product. So what are the components of complaint letter? First, a formal greeting. What is a formal greeting? When writing to a company, it is expectable to use to whom it may concern, as it may be unclear who will read and act on your complaint. Next is a description of the purchase. What are the purchases you made? Include all penetratory details such as an account number or the order number. What and how much of the product or services was purchased and when the transaction recorded. Next comes to the explanation of the problem. Clarity states the problem you have encountered with the product or services. For instance, the product does not work properly. The service was not performed correctly. You were billed the wrong amount. Some time was not disclosed clearly or was misrepresentative. Next is your specific request or resolution needed. Purpose a satisfactory solution such as refund or discount on services performed, a repair or an exchange. Now next comes to the apology letter. This letter is an important tool in workplace that acknowledged a mistake, express regret, and ask for the letter for forgiveness or patience. This letter creates a formal record of admitting to accepting to certain mistake or failure. This may include the various types like acknowledgement of the mistake, Begin by explaining what you have done wrong. Acknowledge the consequences of your mistake. Owning up to your mistake for very beginning of your letter shows sincerity and will help to ensure your accept. Hear about your mistake from you instead of someone else. Confronting your mistake and reaching out to the affected party, directing with help, you resolve the issue as quickly as possible. A sincere apology. A sincere apology will involve saying you are sorry without any accepts to shift blame to anyone else. Expressing a genuine regret for the consequences you caused may be sufficient in earning your receptionist forgiveness. How you plan to fix that problem? How you can plan to fix that specific problem? So ensure your receptionist you will do everything in your power to correct the matter and share the specific steps you will take to do so. Be willing to make whatever personal sacrifices are necessary to make things right with your reader. So these are some of the letters, business letters. I hope this topic has been clear to you. There are various types of other letter as well, business letter, like your announcement letter, request letter, and so on. Now comes to the 7 parts of business letter. So we have already learned about the contact information. What are the contact information? Basically, this step is essential, especially when adding a physical copy of business letter. Subject line. Subject line is used when sending a business letter. Greetings. What are greetings? The formalities of greeting will depend on the example of business relationship. So there are various negative news of the letters and the open and the bad negative letters also. So how we have to use it? Like how we have to open it or buffer it at the middle. So first, open begins with the reader interest information. Middle present negative element as a positive so that the reader may not think that you are presenting any negative letter. And with courteous in a friendly way, forward looking to ending that letter. Before going further, let's discuss about what is the greeting in the letter. The formalities of the greeting will depend on the type of business relationship you have with the readers. If you are looking for a new job, your greeting should be formal. If you are sending a quick follow-up to the customer that you have already created a relationship. Introduction is very simple. I hope you know about that. The introduction describes the purpose of the letter, what you are hoping to achieve with it. This is a chance to grab the reader attention with information such as discount on the product and so on. Next is your detailed information. Like you have to write every information in a detailed format, in a very specific format. Try to provide some additional information to that later. Last is your conclusion. Your conclusion should leave the reader with a call to the action, such as how the reader can order a product or reach out to you for more information. And last comes to the signature. A signature can be as simple as writing your name or as complex as including your creditability and your certification. How you sign a business letter will depend on your current relationship with the reader. I hope this topic has been clear to you. Now, next comes to applying 7 C's in the business communication. Effective communication boils down to knowing the purpose of communication, understanding the receiver needs, then clearly stating what you need to say. Every communication should be clear, helpful, and as friendly as the topic allows. The business letter have a conversational tone and read as if you were talking to your readers. So what are the 7 C's? First is your completeness. Correct, clear, concise, concrete, and concentration. So in short, what do you understand by complete? To give all the required detail. Now, correct, to give facilitating and illusion correct information to the readers. What do you understand by clear? To have clear information. Next, concise and short means to save the time and the space. We will discuss these all 7 C's in detail also. First, let's see in short how we can, in an easy language, how we can describe these C's. Next is your courteous. Always be polite to write any letter. Concrete, to have a defined purpose of communication. And last, consideration. Always use you attitude and have a friendly tone. Now let's discuss one by one in detail what each C explains you in your business letter. What is completeness? Completeness means the message should be complete to bring describable result. It should include everything the reader needs for the reaction you desire. You should know what information our reader wants or need. You should be able to know the reader's background, viewpoints, need, attitudes, and emotion. So first, what we have to include while writing any conversation, provide all necessary information. Answering the 5 V's help to make the message clear. So what are the 5 V's? I hope everyone knows about the 5 V's. First, who. Second, what. When, where, how. These are the 5 V's of communication. Next, answer to all questions asked. Look for question like when a pear is burned within a paragraph. Locate them and their answer preciously. Give something extra when described. Use your good judgment in offering additional matter if the sender message was incomplete. A business letter must be complete. It should contain all the details that are to be communicated by the writer to the person receiving the letter. For the letter to be complete, the writing must be properly planned or organized. Organizing a letter consists of sequencing all details logically and presenting them further. Should not be mere list, string put together. There should be cohesion in the letter. Now next comes to the correctness part. What do you understand by correctness? At the core of correctness in proper grammar, punctuation and spelling. While writing any letter, you have to figure out everything. There should be no mistake in grammars and in punctuation, and most important in your spelling. Read your letter again and again before sending to the reader. However, a message may be perfect grammatically and mechanically, but still insult or lost a customer. So the correctness as applied to the business message also means the following 5 characteristics. Use the correct label of your language. Include only factor words and figures. Maintain acceptable writing mechanism. Apply the following qualities. There should be proper grammar, punctuation, spelling, and paragraphs. A business letter should be accurate in the information that it communicates. If correct information forms the content of the letter, it adds to the credibility of the both the person who writes a letter and the organization from which the letter originates. Next, the letter should be in the correct format and have a tone and style which are appropriate to the purpose. It is also important that the letter should not contain errors, the grammar and the applications or the spelling mistake. And medium, this would distract from the positive impact of the letter. Makes the reader quite negative. Further, the appreciation and layout should be correct, free of over typing and irregular spacing. Next comes to the clarity. What do you understand by clarity? Clarity demands that the business should be correct and concrete. Getting the meaning from your head to the head of your read accurately in the purpose of clarity. However, it is not simple. We all carry around our own unique interpretations, ideas, and experience. Associate with words. Proper punctuation make the writing clear. Choose precise, concrete, and familiar words. Construct effective sentence and paragraph. And last, check the accuracy of fact, figure, and the words. There should be clarity in the business letter. Clarity was lost for the following reasons. There was various reasons where our message is not clear to the other person. So what are that reason? Using words that are difficult to understand. So for avoiding this, try to use the word that are easy and easy to understand by the other person. Writing illogically sentence. Use words that create negativeness, complicated sentence, and semantic barriers. I hope semantic barriers is clear to you. Semantic barriers we have discussed further before also that there is a language barrier where the reader is not able to understand our language. Next comes to the conciseness. What do you understand by conciseness? Your message should be very easy. Business executives are very busy. We all know there is no time in the organization to write or to read a long letter. To try to write your letter in a simple form and in a shorter form. They do not have the time to go through unnecessarily lengthy messages. The writer is also a loser if it writes word messages because it involves more time and money to type and read. Conciseness make the message more understandable. Eliminate the wordy expression. Avoid unnecessarily repetition. And last, include relevant material. People involved in the business are busy with the numbers of commercial and administrative duties to attend to. Hence, business letter should be in a shorter form. Now comes to the courtesy part. What do you understand by courtesy? True courtesy involves being aware not only of prescribed other, but also the feelings. Courtesy that seems from a sincere your attitude. Courtesy is more important and advantageous in the business writing than it is in the face-to-face communication or conversation. Courtesy message strength, present relationship and make new friends. It is good-willing business measures. It includes following points. What are that points? Answer your mail properly. Be sincere, through thoughtful and appreciable. Use expressions that show respect. Choose non-discriminatory expressions. Courtesy is one of the grace of letter writing in the context of business. It is also one of the factors that increase the chances of getting a favorable response. Next comes to the concreteness. What do you understand by concreteness? Communication concretely means being specific, definite, and vivid rather than vague and general. Often it means use denotatives like direct or often dictionary based rather than the cumulative words. Ideas are noted, suggested by our associate with the word or the phrase. Business writing should be specifically defined rather than shown. So there are various guidelines for that. Use specific facts and figures. Put action in your verbs. Choose and build images. Last comes to the consideration part. So consideration refers to the you attitude, their human touch and understanding of human nature. Also, consideration means creating every message by reading reader's mind. Try to put yourself in their place. You are considerate. You do not lose your temper. Do not accuse and do not charge them without facts. The thoughtful consideration is also called your attitude. You try to visualize your readers' desire, problems, emotions, and circumstances. Possible reaction to your request. Always focus on you description instead of I and we. Show the audience the benefits or interest in the receiver. Emphasize positive present factor. When you write a letter, you are trying to convince someone to act or react in a positive way. Your reader will respond quickly only if your meaning is crystal clear. Put yourself in the reader's shoes and write in a friendly and helpful tone. Do not represent your company as one that cannot make a mistake and must always in the right. Try not to reply in the normal, bland, and defective way of organization. Write a sincere and helpful letter. Show your interest in the reader's circumstances. If he or she has mentioned something personal in the letter, refers to it and then reply. This builds a bridge between you and the reader. So there are certain key points also while we have to be considered. We have a you attitude, right? All communication should follow certain parameters to make it clear and effective. So I hope these 7 C's had been clear to you. Always kept in your mind while writing any of the letter to make the communication more acceptable to the receiver. It is necessary to design the communication in terms of language, style of writing, layouts, etc., which will appeal to the receptionist. Also, one more important thing, any verbal Written communication should be to the point, give complete necessary details, and have definite purpose. All communication always should be polite in tone. Show respect and courtesy to all the parties mentioned. I hope this topic has been clear to you. Now, next comes to starting. How we can start these scenes. First, I am writing. Use these types of words. Don't try to write I or we or something else to inform you that. Referring to the previous content, that means thank you for your letter. Write on that date. So you can write any date over there. Making a request. Try to request to the other person. Next, offering help. That include, would you like us to do? May would be happy to. Give good news. That means we are pleased to announce that. Bad news is how we have to reflect. I am afraid it would not be possible to. And if we are coming to the complaining part, I would like to query the transport charges which seem unnecessary. Here we have to complain to a certain produce. Comes how we have to draft a message. What are the tips to draft any message or a business letter? Let's discuss this one by one. Here are few guidelines to keep in mind when writing a business letter. Customize your letter. All business letters should be written for their intended receptionist. For example, a cover letter should start by you want to work for that particular company. Be punctual with your delivery. Timely business letter can demonstrate your time management skill to a prospective employer, or let your reception know that you value their time. Consider the method of delivery. Your relationship with the receptionist, the type of a letter, and the level of urgency may influence whether you send it this email or traditional mail. Next, choose the appropriate label of formalities. The majority of business letter you write will be worded professionally. Your relationship with the receptionist, the type of the letter, your intent may distract the formalities of the language in your letter. Limit your letter to one page. Try to limit it. Don't write such a lengthy letter. Concise the business letter that quickly get to the point are most likely to be read in full. Evaluate each paragraph for relevancy and only include information that reader needs to know. Now, how to draft a letter? Discuss one by one. What are the points we have to write? Learn the rules. Before you sit down to write a business letter, familiarize yourself with the rules for writing a business letter, such as address the receptionist properly. If you are sure which price is appropriate or how to spell their name, take a moment to research this information. format the letter properly. A business letter format is not the same as an information letter or the email format. Include all relevant information. This means including both the receptionist address and your own, the date, and all necessary details to engage the readers and enable them to respond in truthful, appropriate method. It can be helpful to review business letters, explain to see how other writers address to these rules. Ask your colleagues, your manager for a past letter to read or search for the exam. Next comes to choose a suitable format. We have previously we have learned about the blog, semi-blog or modified blog, right? So we have to choose the suitable format. The business letter format is the key characteristics of these types of communication. A business letter may be formatted in the following, that is blog, semi-blog and modified. So what is blog? We have discussed all the lines are left justified and there are no intended. Next comes to the semi-blog format. All the lines are left justified and each paragraph is intended. In blog, there is no intent, but in semi-blog, there is an indented. In modified blog format, the heading, closing, and signature are right justified, while the body and addresses are left justified. In this format, there are intents. No matter which format you choose, the letter should be single space with a blank lines separating paragraphs and section. Next comes to the use of language or use a quality pen to sign that letter. So use of formal language means a business letter is formal and professional communication. This does not mean it should be stuffy or stuttered, but it should maintain a professional tone and addressed to the traditional business letter formatting. Next comes to the focused on the content and subject. A business letter should focus on one topic. That could be an offer. Business letter. Okay, so business letter is vary in length. Sometimes they are only a 1 page long. If your letter exceed 2 pages, create a separate report that cover the bulk of the letter's content. Instead of sending a long letter, send the report with a short letter that summarizes it for the reader. Now include your signature or the print. Every business letter should include a signature, that is your name, company, title, and your blue or black pen. So these are certain tips which you have to be kept in your mind while drafting any of the letter. I hope this topic has been clear to you all. So try to maintain the margins, use the right font of size, colors, and so on. Use the right tone. So in simple words, if we describe how we have to write any of the letter, So we have to very polite while writing a letter. Check the margins. Try to read your letters before sending to the other person. Use the right font size style. Use a quality pen to sign that letter throughout the read before you send it. Neatly print write your written address and the reception address. I hope this topic of business letter has been clear to you. 7 C's, tips, how to write a letter, blocks. Always kept in mind while writing a letter that 3 blocks. That is your modified, semi block, and block letter. Thank you.